Hello, Irene. So for your first question, yes, that should be fine. Yeah, that's the way. If you download a font, that's the way to incorporate it. If you use a Google font, then you can just post a link to the Google site. But yeah, if you're downloading a font, that's fine. Your three divs on that, I think it's just a matter of playing around with your sizes. So let's just take on your skills page. So you'll notice here that if you want, you can have a div that contains those. Okay, and that div you probably want to make it 100% so it extends out to this white container div, and then have these roughly like 45%, around 50%, so they each take half. And let me just check how you have these. So here I can see that you have it float left, and this one here, sorry, is also floated left with 40%, and this one is also with 40%. Okay, and so this is your container, which you can see is in blue right there. And I don't think these actually do anything. What you might want to do is, if you want margin left right auto, then you have to figure out what size this container needs to be to contain this perfectly. Once you contain that perfectly with a width, then you can do margin left right auto, and that will center. Okay, but I'm gonna tell you something that probably will be kind of better for your implementation. So what I was thinking is, instead of using a liquid design, so as you can see, your design is pretty much fully liquid. So when I sorry if you hear my son in the back, he's also doing a lesson. If you resize your site, notice all of your content completely resizes. So what I was thinking is go with a fixed size. This white container that you have here, put it as a fixed size, give it a width. And I was thinking something that is probably standard is about 1024. So considering the size of my window right now is about 1039, that would make this box right here about 1024, and this is what most of your content would look like on 1024 width, if you put that white box as 1024 width. I'll talk about this in a second. And most of your content actually looks pretty good on 1024. If you want to go to 1200, that would probably be fine. Okay, so looking at most of your pages, I think things would work nicely with this size. You can see everything fits nicely. I would even go and increase these fonts. Those are kind of small, not so. Well, I guess you could leave those size. I think maybe the centering kind of looks kind of funny. Usually you have your dots kind of lined up nicely. But I would definitely go for a fixed width. That way nothing changes and you don't have to deal with this, stretching it and whatnot. So just fix that size of this white box to 1024, or you could go with 1200. Okay. Talking about this page here, and you get this overlap that you have here, and the reason for that is the width that you have set for this image here. Let me just show you. If I inspect the element here, you can see, where is it? You use this div image education, and I've noticed that you've set a width of 20%. Okay, and you can see if I actually turn that off, you can see that they actually do float up nicely beside each other. What's happening is, since you set that width, if I put my mouse on top of this, you can see that blue square that appears. So that blue square actually indicates, where is it? That blue square indicates how big you've set the width. And since you set it to 20%, 20% is actually not enough. It's too small, and what's happening is your image is actually overflowing its container. So that's why it's overflowed on top of the other sidebar that you got there. Okay, so what you can just do is just take off that width. You don't need it. Okay, it's floated, it buddies up, and in case you might want to even put a little bit of a margin on there. But if you are going to go with that 1024, what you might want to do is kind of rearrange this. Either have like the image there, all of this stuff under, and then your sidebar on the side, or have all of this, your sidebar and the image underneath. Okay, but definitely I think the best choice for your content, for your layout, would be to go with a fixed width instead of liquid. So just set that width to something like 1024 or 1200 or something like that. So going back to the issue of this page, if you do set that fixed width, then these no longer need to be a percentage, but you can just, if let's say this is 1000, you could put like 500 and 500, or 450, 450, then you can have that extra 100 or so that you'll set as margins to kind of space that out. Okay, so you don't need to work with percentages anymore. So if you have a fixed width, these things can just be defined as a fixed width as well too, and it's a lot easier to work with. So I've gone in here and changed width. I noticed it was at 90%, so I'd set a fixed width of 1200, and you can see how that kind of looks. You can see no matter what my window size, that stays as 1200. And the only kind of downfall to that is when people go to a smaller window, that kind of falls off. But I think for the purposes of your website, I don't think it's something to be viewed on a mobile phone or anything like that. And even with the 90% on a mobile phone, it's going to look pretty strange anyways. So 1200. If you want to take a look at this, what it looks like as 1024. Okay, so something like that. And you can see some of the other pages too. If we go to the all content and set that to 1024px. Okay, so of course this is going to be redone, but that's basically the width you're looking at for that white box. And here's the portfolio on 1024 pixel, and as you can see, it does look decent. I guess that one kind of dropped down there, but that may not be a bad thing. If you want, you can add some extra padding on each of these images and just have 2 and 2 or something like that. But again, that's up to you to decide. But that's a look at using fixed width.